Do I want to put lip gloss on my eyelids? Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather, and today we are doing a judge a book by its cover on 100,000 Kingdoms by N Jemisin. So if you are new to my channel here, hello, welcome, I'm glad you're here. I like to do book reviews where I do my makeup in the style of the book cover. Now today will be a little different because I want to do my makeup based on the brand new paperbacks that are releasing soon. I want to do my look based on this cover instead of this cover, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of me having this one. But you know what? We're bending the rules here. I will take any opportunity to do a blue eye look. That's just who I am as a person, and you guys are just going to have to deal with that. I am so excited to do this video. This book was one of the most amazing fantasy books I have ever read. Incredible, mind-boggling, spectacular, never been seen before, never been done before, completely unique. I can't stop tweeting about it. I can't stop talking about it. It blew my mind. 100,000 Kingdoms follows our main character, Yena, and her mother has recently passed away. It has been a couple months since she has left us. And the special thing about Yena's mother is she was the heir to this kingdom. Now, this kingdom works more as like an unofficial government power where they don't technically rule everybody, but they absolutely rule everybody. And they are known as the Aramari. I am probably not pronouncing that correctly, but we're just gonna go with it. And they are known as the Sky People because this palace that they all live under, everybody in Sky are Aramari, so they're technically all related. So we get that beautiful incest component to this story that is just, isn't it just what we all want and deserve? Thankfully, it's over thousands of years, so it's very convoluted, but it's definitely there. I digress. So everybody in Sky are these Amari people. And thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, these Amari people gained power through enslaving the gods in this world. There are three major gods in this mythology. We have the god of the sun, we have the god of night, and then we have the goddess of dawn in between. So it's kind of like a chaos, order, balance relationship. And for reasons that you learn as you read, there was this giant war between the gods, and the Aramari got involved. Long story short, at the end of the war, they came out on top. And they have now enslaved the god of night and his children, and now they kind of just worship the sun god as the sole god. Alright, you with me? We got the mythology? It's pretty simple. So comes in Yena. Her mother actually revoked her title as heir because, of course, she was the daughter of the king, and king loosely because he's not technically a king. He doesn't technically sit on the throne, but it is. And she revoked her title in order to marry Yena's father, who was a ruler of this barbarian nation. So now that Yena's mother has passed, her grandfather, the king, has summoned her to Sky, the palace, in order to become his heir. Now the catch is that Yena is not the only heir to the kingdom. There are two other people in line to possibly inherit the throne, which are two of Yena's cousins, because of course everybody in Sky is related, and they of course have to battle each other out because only one person can survive. Now, of course, Yena is the underdog in this scenario. She has never grown up in Sky. She is very new to this politics and the political intrigue. She doesn't have any alliances, nothing like that. They all see her as this barbarian. So in order to kind of put her leg up in the competition, she allies herself with the night god and his children that are, of course, acting as servants, slaves. The Aramari basically use their powers for their own gain. And so they form an alliance of sorts in order to get her on top of this political maneuverance, the machinations, all of that good stuff. So that's overall just a brief synopsis of the book. I do want to do the whole cut crease action, and I don't know if I'll be able to talk while doing it, so I'm just going to fast forward this part. Cut crease is done. It's not exactly how I wanted it to be, but hopefully when I put the gold down and everything, it gets a little better. I think the first thing that I really want to praise, and it's one of my favorite aspects of this book, is the writing style. N.K. Jemisin gets countless praise in the fantasy genre, and it is for such good reason, because she is such a breath of fresh air in the fantasy genre, because she's not afraid to do something different. She's not afraid to innovate. The narration is one of my absolute favorite tropes too, because it has the narrator talking to the reader. I love books like that. I just think it is so fun and a nice little twist. If you do have any recommendations, please let me know down below. You get these points where there are kind of digressions throughout the novel, and they don't feel scatterbrained, they don't feel choppy, or it doesn't take you out of the story. It just gives a very unique voice to the story, and it just makes the reading experience more enjoyable for me. I also love how seamless N.K. Jemisin seems to convey ideas, because she has such complex themes surrounding immortality and gods versus humans, and these really intense concepts that she has to convey to the reader. And there are times where you're reading and you come across scenes and some themes that are just way too abstract for you to fully comprehend them, but it's the nature of that, and the narrator also continuously repeats that you are not supposed to understand these things because it is impossible for a mortal mind to comprehend these emotions. For example, one of my favorite things about this book is how N.K. Jemisin conveys the psyche of gods. This woman has to be insane. There's no other way to explain, first of all, how she does this, but second of all, choosing to take on this task of trying to explain how the minds of gods work. Because you have to remember that in this mythology, there are 3 gods, as I said, and these gods have been alive since before time existed, before anything was of existence except for them. Just thinking about trying to understand to the lengths of which N.K. Jemisin explains how you convey a being that has been alive and has experienced these memories and emotions for eons upon eons. And it's interesting the way she goes about that, because she mentions a lot how in this particular mythology, as well as hundreds and dozens of other mythologies and religions, the mortals were crafted in the image of the gods. So the gods have all of these emotions that mortals go through: jealousy, wrath, desire, love, sadness, all of those things that we go through, all of those emotions, the gods have gone through, again, for eons upon eons on such a cosmetic scale that we could never comprehend. I know I probably am not making a whole lot of sense, and I apologize, but that in and of itself, the fact that if you are just confused right now about what I'm saying, like what are you even talking about, that just goes to show how absurd and how abstract and completely insane you have to be to try to write that and have them understand what you're saying. N.K. Jemisin did exactly that. It's crazy. In my opinion, and obviously I'm biased, I mean I base my whole channel in aesthetics over ancient immortal beings that rule over a specific domain of life. I put gods as the ultimate OP beings. I know there's quite a few other books that don't necessarily take that route. For example, a very common trope, it's not a trope, but a very common theme with a lot of retellings or just books involving gods. A lot of them weaken them because a lot of them base their power and their strength over belief. I definitely see the process of that and the kind of the thought process of doing it that way. But I tend to not enjoy those books as much because I just think of gods as just gods. Like they're gods. That's the top strength possible that you can achieve. And although these gods are enslaved, she shows the weaknesses of the gods so they're not completely OP, but they still have their powers and they still have that wisdom and that incomparable strength that comes with just being alive for eons upon eons. So I feel like this book has the perfect blend of still showing the weaknesses of even the most overpowered individuals, which gives them so much complexity, because you don't just want to read a book that has these beings that are just completely powerful and there's no stakes to it. There are absolutely stakes to this book. There are nothing but stakes to this book. And she really makes the gods so mortal. She makes them so human. I explained that the mortals were crafted in the god's image, and it is incredible how N.K. Jemisin displays what human and mortal emotions like sadness, like grief, like jealousy, all of those things, how she explains what happens to those emotions over eons of time and what those emotions look like in a being that has been alive for that long. There's this lore that the Night Lord, the god of night, cannot cry. Then there is this portion where we are kind of seeing in the eyes of the night god, and it says, "I can see nothing of their grief through the black mist of my own. I lay her body down, but my hands are covered in her blood, our blood. And when I lift my head to scream out my fury, 1,000,000 stars turn black and die. No one can see them, but they are my tears."
Oh my god, how?
First of all, logistically, how do you think to write like that? How do those words in combination and sentence structure even come into your brain? And then secondly, how did this woman just completely explain perfectly how a god would experience grief? Absolutely crazy how N.K. Jemisin makes these immortal beings feel so not even relatable, because of course the whole theme is that mortals can't even comprehend emotions like that. But how she can still make them so real, relatable, and turn them into humans while also showing how not human they are, because their tears become black stars in the night sky and across galaxies, and their strength can literally rip the cosmos apart in a blink of an eye. Imagine trying to write a character that has that much power while still having that much relatable emotions that we can all attest to having. I would love to study the psychology of the gods that N.K. Jemisin has crafted in this book. I even read the author note, and she mentions that one of her inspiration was Sigmund Freud, specifically how the dreams and that kind of psychology behind them. And you can absolutely see how deep she went into psychology and doing all those research, because like I said, a lot of this book is just showing how a god would think. The more I think about this book, the more I am just speechless. You may be watching this right now and you're like, Heather, how high are you right now? And I would like to say that I'm not high enough, because I am 100% sober and I still don't understand the levels that this woman took me on. Do I want to put lip gloss on my eyelids? Is that crazy? You know what, let me put glitter on first and then we'll see if that gets crazy. So my brain needs a little break. And I am just going to step aside from the crazy abstractness of this book and talk about the characters a little. Let's talk about the main character, Yena. She is such a strong main character. I have read rarely the female character that exhibits the strength and the intellect, but not necessarily intellect where she knows everything that she's doing. In fact, she doesn't know at all. I'd say resourcefulness is probably the word that better describes Yena. You see her taking on this impossible task and going through the motions of, is this even worth it? Is this even possible for me to achieve? Should I give up? Should I keep going? What do I do? You also see the strength of her and her endurance and her determination. You see the mystery unfold with who her mother was, what it means to be Aramari. Does she want to be Aramari? What kind of future does she want for this country, her people, the gods, all of these things? And so she goes through so much growth and understanding in such a short period of time, but it feels like years. You see her do a complete evolution as a character, quite literally, and it is so amazing to watch. So I do just want to pause because I want to talk about my new love, my new foundation love. So I have had the Naked Skin One and Done Urban Decay thing for a while, but I haven't been able to use it because it's way too dark for me. I used to be very, very tan because I used to go outside all the time. I do not do that anymore. So I just mix it with my Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer from ColourPop, and this finish is the most beautiful thing I have ever put on my face. I forgot how much I love the Naked Skin foundation because it's just so glowy. Look at my skin right now. It is so glowy and dewy. Oh, I love it. You know what? I'm gonna make it even more dewier because I can. Now, the next thing I want to talk about. Love the characters. I mean, I only talked about the main characters, but whatever. This review is getting long enough. I want to talk about the romance. Woo! Can we get a fan up in here? If you are a lover of romance, I don't know why I just did that. That was a little weird. And you also love fantasy, look no fucking further, because this book took me by storm. I could not believe how good the romance is in here. If you are in a Larkling stan, you love Alina and the Darkling, listen. Nahadath puts the Darkling to shame. Nahadath is the night god. He is absolutely my favorite character in this book, and for damn good reason. He is the epitome of the angsty, mysterious, broody type, but he actually has depth and reasons for being like that. He's not just an asshole just to be an asshole, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I always love those love interests. I do. Am I ashamed of that? Absolutely not. But Nahadov, he has so much complexities and depth to his character that you get all of the tension and the angst and just the brood with the depth, the backstory, the complexities, and the intrigue of a well fleshed out character. Also, if you are a Jude Carden stan, on the time of their meeting, Yena literally stabs him. So if that's the dynamic you're looking for, look no further. This couple has ruined me for all other book couples ever. They have such an interesting dynamic because they have that instant lust for each other, and so you get that juicy sexual tension. I wouldn't call this enemies to lovers, but it's like discontent to tolerance to maybe I actually like this person to wow, they are made for me. It's so good. And also for my romance lovers that like the juicy bits, let me just tell you that Nahadov takes care of Yena so well that they travel the fucking cosmos together. I'm not even kidding. That's not an exaggeration. That literally happens. Please pick up this book right now. I know I talk a lot about really abstract things, so I probably scared the bejesus out of those of you who maybe aren't totally into fantasy and are maybe dipping your toes a little bit in the genre, specifically adult fantasy. Although the themes are very abstract, as I said at the very beginning, N.K. Jemisin conveys them so well that I do feel like this could be a good starter adult fantasy for people, because it is crazy, the storytelling aspect and just the things that she does, but she does definitely describe them well. And again, the writing style, the fact that our main character is telling us her story, it is told in first person, it makes it easier to consume, and the overarching abstract ideas are framed beautifully around this very structured plot of Yena having to figure out what she needs to do to not die in this situation. And you also get these sprinkle ins of Yena discovering who her mom was and what kind of person her mom was. So yes, a lot of the themes I talked about were very crazy, mind blown, whatever, but that was just because it was my favorite part of the book, because that was the overarching theme. But those big ideas, again, are framed beautifully in a very concise, very easy to understand plot, and you just get all of these insights into the gods, and they really grow as beings throughout the book, and you go on this journey of learning about them more and more as the story progresses. This review has been very long. I am not quite done with my face, so instead of blabbering on even more, I'm going to go off camera, going to do my contour, highlight, eyeliner, lashes, all of that jazz, and I will come back with my overall final thoughts. I put lip gloss on my eyelids. What are we doing here? Alright, you guys, so this is the final look. I had a really hard time trying to come up with a lip combo for this, but we went with a really dark brown today. Here is the final look. I will have the cover right here, and I really like this look. I thought it was fun. I really do and like the gloss on my lid. I don't know how good it's going to come across on camera, but I think it looks really, really cool. Overall, overall, I would recommend this book to one, fantasy lovers. If you are a fantasy lover and you have not picked up NK Jemisin, you definitely need to, because I was told that by so many people and I put it off for so long because I was so afraid that I wasn't going to love her. But I can safely say that just reading this one book, she is absolutely a favorite author of mine. It is incredible how brilliant she is as a writer. I would also recommend it for people that are maybe interested in getting into adult high fantasy, because this one has that intricate world that is such a crucial component of adult fantasy, but the writing style is so approachable and so digestible that I think this is a great starting point for you. I would also recommend it for fantasy lovers that love romance, because this has all of the juicy angst and amazing relationship with tension and amazing growth in such a complex fantasy world that is so fun to navigate. So you do not sacrifice romance for plot or plot for romance. It's just a perfect blend. I would recommend it for people that love mythology, love folklore, because the way she examines the god's psyche, as I've already spent so much time explaining, is so breathtaking. And overall, I would just recommend this to people who can appreciate a author really delving into this world and just conceptualizing such a abstract and incredibly detailed world that makes it so real to the reader. That is going to do it for this video. If you want to pick up a copy of this book for yourself, I will have an Amazon affiliate link down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, it just helps me out and this channel. Let me know down below if you have read this book, if you have read other NK Jemisin, if you have any recommendations for narrators that talk to the reader, because I really love that trope. Please let me know down below. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!